Yo, welcome back everybody. Today we don't have a gameplay video. We don't have gameplay from a specific hero. No. Today is a patch review. And not really just a patch review, but a patch review of a preview. That's how excited we are for changes coming to this game. Really, it's the exciting day that we get to find out that there's a bunch of things on the horizon that are changing for Battlegrounds. And what are they? Number one, something that's not listed here, and the reason why I delayed this video to start at approximately 3 p.m. Eastern instead of 1 p.m. Eastern, is the removal of the entire buddy system. That was in Crip's video. If you have not seen it, the link will be below in the description, basically saying the buddy system is going by the wayside for the near future. We're going to potentially have it back in the future at some point, kind of like the Dark Moon prizes from the previous event, but the buddies were always viewed as temporary, and being so, they are now gone again. So we're back to the base game not being streamlined in direction immediately given to you via the buddy system. Might feel like a massive shock to some people, jumping back into the lower power level version of the game. But remember, we just played 4 months of this meta. It's going to take everybody a little bit of time to acclimate back to the old system. And honestly, I couldn't be happier, because the buddy system, while fun for a while, fatigues very quickly because the same thing happens in every game. You end up in these scenarios where you're turn 1 as Mutinous and you just know your entire leveling curve from that point. You know exactly what you're going to be doing, and the only question is what units are you spitting on and what tech cards can you put around it. And when every game plays out the same for the same heroes, the game becomes very homogenous and you end up with only a couple strategies working, etc, etc, etc. It's time for change. And we can bring that change by number 1, removing buddies, and number 2, adding a new tribe to the game, that being Naga. Naga is a new tribe that apparently, from our preview of the tribe, basically all of the cards are synergizing with a spell that is associated with those cards, the Naga cards. So if we look at the previewed minions of, say for example, Snail Cavalry over here, once per turn after you cast a spell, gain 2 health. So you can immediately start thinking of what are spells that exist in Battlegrounds. Number 1, coins. So heroes like Barov, heroes like Blackthorn, who give you blood gems, they're naturally going to synergize better with the new tribe Naga. Additionally, anything that generates spells to hand, like say for example the pirate that gives you coins, or any blood gem generators, etc, etc, etc. You can see where we're going here. There's a Cool Bore synergy here, and there's a coin synergy here, which is immediately apparent with the Naga tribe. Nagas will be launching or added to the game on the 10th of May, along with removal of the buddy system. Basically, everything's all changing 5 days from now. Had to check the calendar. Next Tuesday. A little side note, which is kind of funny for this, is that Lobby Legends, the $50,000 tournament for Hearthstone Battlegrounds, will be the following Saturday and Sunday. So we have like 4 days worth of finding out how to play this new patch before the big tournament happens. So if you are a viewer that loves that kind of content, I will be broadcasting that gameplay from my own point of view in the 16 or the top 16 on Saturday, and if we're still in the tournament, Sunday as well. So yeah, looking forward to that. It's gonna be completely crazy. Who knows what's gonna happen? We better figure out this meta very quickly. All right, next thing. There's a new keyword being added to the game in the form of Spellcraft. Some Naga have the new keyword Spellcraft, and this is the thing that kind of was alluding to before. Probably should have read this one first, to be honest. Not editing the video. It's a little disjointed. Minions with the Spellcraft keyword grant a temporary spell each turn. The spell can give minions a buff that lasts until the start of your next recruit phase. My first thought when I read this was that this sounds like Diablo spells. When Diablo 1 combats, he gained a random spell to his hand, from his pool of spells, and then you could give a temporary buff to your board using it, and then the next turn that buff went away. This is exactly what these things are doing. So Tavern 1 minion, Mini Myrmidon. Spellcraft, give a minion +2 attack until next turn. So basically a temporary +2 attack buff that you can use on any unit on the board. Doesn't have to be the Mini Myrmidon. And then at the start of your next buy phase, that buff's going to go away. But at the start of next buy phase, that minion, so long as it's still on your board, gives you the ability to target that, or put that spell back in your hand and then target that spell wherever you need it again. So that's kind of cool. It doesn't say if it's generated at the beginning of the buy phase. Like, I'm interpreting it that way. I don't see why it wouldn't be. But I imagine if you play the spellcraft card to the board for a turn, then that generates the spell as well. So, like, the wording's a little bit nebulous here, but it should be that each turn that you have this thing on the board, that you get that copy of that spell. Only real question is the turn that you play it, do you get the copy or not? All right. Additional previewed card, Shoal Commander. Spellcraft, give a minion +1/1 for each friendly Naga until next turn. So basically a much larger spell. The spell gives a spawn buff effectively to the whole board. Cool. It's basically a 2/2 +1/1 for each of the units on your board. Say you have 7 minions by that point. Then you're buying a very, 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 very strong tempo-oriented unit in the middle of the game, which really doesn't have that much upside outside of the spell synergy for later. Think of it like buying a Tavern 3 spawn, but you don't have to have the spawn in position 1. So it's not a bad minion. A lot of times spawn is the best minion you can buy even when you're on Tavern 3. Overall, good synergy, decent stats. We'll see how it works out. And last but not least of the previewed cards, Stormscale Siren. At the end of your turn, your spellcraft minions cast their spells on themselves. So in other words, we get more and more and more spells being created. This is a multiplicative effect here. So while, spellcraft minion would target itself, so you get an extra 2 attack here. Spellcraft minion would target itself with the 1/1 buff on each friendly Naga. I'm assuming this would proc on everything. You get a combination of things like Stormscale Siren and Shoal Commander, and then, hey, look at that. Instead of a 1/1 to the board, you now have a 2/2 to the board. Good synergy for 3 stars, right? Combine that with our preview of our big 6-star Tide Mistress Athissa? I can't speak. Athissa? After you cast a spell, give 4 friendly Naga +1/1. You can see where this is going. The more spells that you play, the more buffs that you take. Even cards that are like little +2 attack bonuses now are pretty sizable when you get add 4/4 permanently to your board as well. Additional Shoal Commander. These Stormscale Sirens then giving you multiple procs at the end of turn. It feels very, very much like Agam, Charlie, and Flat Tusk in the way that you get multiple avenues of scaling, all doing like AoE buff type of mechanics and buffing up your board permanently. Not only that, but spells doesn't say just spellcraft spells, right? So circling back on what we talked about at the very beginning, you have all of that Blood Gem synergy that you could get into a situation where you have like Athissa plus a couple other Naga on the board and then Flat Tusk. And you basically have a new cross-tribe combo here. Instead of there being like Agam Flat Tusk Menagerie, we now have Athissa Naga Flat Tusk Menagerie. Now that may seem really good on paper. Remember, we don't have buddies anymore. So like the scaling lines of yesteryear and the accessibility of a lot of cards, like say, for example, getting straight into Amalgadons and whatnot, that's going to be a lot harder to do, and scaling is going to be a lot lower. That being said, what I just described was a 2-card combo, both of them being 6 stars, in a meta that may not be conducive to getting a hold of all 6 stars or leveling straight to the moon. Apparently M has decided she wants to stare right out the window in the middle of my broadcast over here. Whatever, she's a good girl. She can do what she wants. But yeah, at the end of the day, we only have a small preview of the Naga tribe, so while we can theorycraft all we want on combinations here, over the next couple days, we're going to get releases on more of the Naga units, some units being removed from the game, new hero being introduced. I'm going to scroll real quick and scroll back, but basically we have content being released over the course of the next 48 hours, which will give us more idea of what's going to be happening in the upcoming patch. So really, it's a small preview, like, oh cool, this new tribe looks very interesting, but we have to wait and see on what the other mechanics they'll be adding with the tribe are, and, theorycraft how good it's going to be. So I will definitely do a full patch review here in a couple days, once we have all of the information, and we'll run down everything. But I'm pretty excited about the upcoming patch, so I wanted to do this one up front. Okay, we have a new hero as well, Azshara. Queen Azshara is being added to Battlegrounds. Basically, one thing that people noted real quick, which was funny, because I know this was intended to be, hey, buddies aren't going to be removed until Crypt's announcement at 3 o'clock. But they introduced a new hero, and they did not introduce a buddy for the new hero. So people looked at that immediately and went, wait, where's the buddy? We don't have information here. Yeah, internet detectives out there are real quick to realize, oh shit, something's happening. You guys were right. Very quick. Discord and other posts that I saw. Good detective work. All right, passive. When your warband reaches 30 total attack, begin your Naga conquest. There's not a lot of description there. But good to know we're going on a quest. Conquest. Naga conquest. Discover a Naga. So basically, phase 1, phase 2 of a new hero. Phase 1, you have to complete an objective. Think of this like Ragnaros, the hero, who has to kill 25 minions. And once you kill 25 minions, you get a different hero power. And then once you get to the transformed hero power, I guess Arana is another good example of complete an objective and then you get a better hero power or new hero power. Then you get Discover a Naga, and well, let's just say that 1 gold to discover a minion that synergizes with your tribe is really, really, really good, right? Think of it like if you can go to Tavern 5 or Tavern 6, that you get a very, very solid minion that you were fishing for net 0 gold. Because you're effectively buying a minion for 1 gold that you can sell for 1 gold. So you can fish every turn to find exactly the synergies that you're looking for. So long as that synergy is Naga. So the hero will definitely passively naturally try to shift or position in a way to play Nagas. But we will see once we have the entire tribe out there. Any fishing for premium cards is pretty much always good, right? So like this idea here, generally speaking, works even if you aren't playing Nagas. Once your warband reaches 30 total attack, begin your Naga quest. We don't really have a good frame of mind of how long that's going to take to get online. If we think about current buddy meta, 30 attack should be somewhere in the range of, barring, cheese units, somewhere in the range of like turn 6, maybe turn 7 to activate this hero. Now that being said, there are ways to cheese this. Get an early Chroma Wing and Jeef Curve straight to 3, and you might be able to activate this thing on 5. So basically, like, get a couple blood gems, get Chroma Wing. You start with 3 attack, you end up with 9 attack by the time you level to 3. 3 to 6, 6 to 12. What am I saying? 8 attack if it's 2, 12 attack if it's 3 attack on Tavern 1. Good ways to cheese this thing real quick. You could level straight to 4 type of thing, then discover a Naga. It's interesting to think about in theory. We're going to have to wait till we actually do it in practice to know how strong this is going to be. But overall, decent activation, relatively easy to accomplish. Great hero power once it's online. Seems to be a solid hero. We'll just see how well this stacks up against the non-buddy meta. This hero without a buddy, obviously in a vacuum, seems pretty weak. But remember, nobody has a buddy anymore. So nobody having a buddy, everybody's relatively weak. And we'll go back to the olden days of power levels not being through the moon. Not even to the moon, like through the moon immediately. Which is really cool. Alright, outside of that, a couple little things to note here. A few tips on playing Naga with Spellcraft, the best channel their power, which was an interesting inclusion in the patch preview, considering that they have not released most of the changes that are coming. A bunch of other things that are coming here are 5 minions will be removed from the minion pool in 23.2. Please, fingers crossed, please be Seafood Slinger and Prester's Pyro-Spawn. Please, 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 please. You can even remove Amalgadon now. You guys might remember that I defend Amalgadon most of the time. That I would rather they remove things that enable Amalgadon than Amalgadon as a whole. But my argument always centered around the fact that poison was necessary in buddy meta. That scaling was too high in buddy meta. If we don't have access to poison, Reborn my Exno or Amalgadons or whatever, then it just turns into whoever can get the biggest dummy on the board first wins the lobby. Buddies are gone. We don't have that hamstring anymore. We could remove Amalgadon at this point. How cool would that be? A game without Amalgadon. A game without Seafood or Presters. Those kind of cards, very, very, very toxic for the game. We'll see how it goes. Personally, I'd rather Amalgadon stay. Don't get me wrong. I think that the game, removing the enabling features like Prester's Pyro-Spawn and Seafood Slinger for Amalgadon, make the card much more interesting. Late game potential to Power Spike is good, but we'll see. What other guesses? Like, there are a bunch of minions that seem like they are limiting growth in this game. I think cards that enable APM builds, generally speaking, need to be reevaluated, whether that was a Rana Buddy or Silas Buddy or Hogger or whatever they might be. Those could be on the chopping block. Early game tempo units, the ones that skew Tavern 1 so you don't want to level to Tavern 2, like Trickster, for example, Micro Mummy as well, definitely could be reevaluated so that there's more incentive to level to 2 instead of stay on 1 on G for Chinese curve or a FOM curve. Who knows? I'm just kind of spitballing here and guessing, but 5 minions will be removed and replaced with the new Naga minions, 5 other new minions, and 2 returning favorites. Before you guys spam chat below with Pogo Hopper, I seriously doubt Pogo Hopper is returning. Before you guys freak out, it better not be Arcane Cannon either. Oh, here comes Megasaur. It's coming back. Who knows? What minions would they have removed from the game that they want to put back in the game? I'm assuming that they've been redesigned. They may be like, you know, Megasaur's coming back, but it's a completely different unit. Who knows? Because it doesn't feel like any minions that were removed from the game were removed for like no reason, right? We removed Boat from the game because power spiking from Boat and the amount of damage it did when it exploded and death rattled was way too high. Removed Megasaur because Divine Shield Poisonous Murlocs, not fun to deal with. Feels like everything that was removed for a good reason. I would like to see what this is before freaking out about it, but there weren't that many minions removed. What's coming back? Alright, so like I said, over the next 48 hours, we're going to get reveals from a couple creators. I'll be reviewing those live on stream when they happen. And also, when we get a patch review in a couple days, that should be like Monday's video, then we should have all of that information all in one place to talk about it completely. Other than that, Lobby Legends, as always, is on the 14th and 15th of May. I am one of the top 16 this season, so I will be broadcasting that from my channel. It's also live on Twitch and YouTube on the Play Hearthstone channels. There will be all kinds of fun content around there. It's going to be completely crazy because we have no idea how to play this new meta. In fact, we only know 5 of the new Naga cards. We don't know which cards are being removed. We don't know which cards are coming in. We don't know which cards are returning favorites. We don't know anything. We're going to be very, very confused trying to play a new tournament. But Crazy Tournament is a fun tournament. We'll do our best. All right, guys. Take care. Have a great night. And I will see you on the other side. Woohoo! Patch is coming. Take care.